So it's definitely in the framework of everything we stand for. You know what I mean?
No, of course, that's good.
Gotcha. Appreciate you. Oh, got it. All right.
Alrighty, we should be looking live. I feel like I'm missing a couple people here, so let me one sec.
Yep.
Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, we're in there, in like Flynn. All right, so we should be live on Your Home Team site. I'm missing a couple people here, so let me one sec.
Yep.
Mute myself. Oh, there we go. Alrighty, go. All right, we're in there, in like Flynn. All right, so technical difficulty. We should be live.
No, that's a part of the show, right?
All right, we're gonna nip that right in the bud. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you good.
All right, we're good. All right, good stuff. All right, we are live on Facebook. I don't know, no matter how many times I do this, I always seems to nut up, but that's all right. That's why I sell houses and I stay in my lane, right? So that being said, Alex, Kim, Kevin, Virginia, Brian, Happy New Year, man. This is the first time Your Home Team has come together and with our partners in crime here to talk about home buying in 2022. And I can't thank you guys enough for taking some time out of your day to hop on this call so that we can just kind of get right into it. Couple of things that I'd like to do is first is have you guys introduce yourselves, tell us who you are, what you do, and one fun fact about you. And then we're going to get right into the meat and potatoes of the conversation of home ownership. For those that are watching, whether you're watching today or watching in the future, I don't care where you're watching this from. I don't care if you're on the West Coast, if you're in a different country. If you need help with home ownership, not only can this panel help you, but we will also help you create your own team right there in where you are. Because I think oftentimes we think that we as professionals, or we think that we can only get help from those that are within our immediate circle, and we don't think of leveraging and reaching out to someone clear across the country or, you know, on the other side of the world, because oftentimes we are networkers and that's what we do. So helping you succeed is really what it comes down to, and that's why I love what I do. So I'll go first. My name is Lorenzo Murray. I am the one of the members of Your Home Team at Hunt Real Estate. I have been in real estate industry for 8 or 9 years now. I've been in the customer service realm, some shape or form, since the late 1990s. And more importantly, I have a team of 9 agents that I work with. There's about 11 of us on the team altogether, including our admin staff, and that team is growing. And I also am married with 5 other realtors in my family. So I'm surrounded by real estate no matter where I go. My fun fact that I was talking about that I wanted to share is, had I had this panel, this is the truth, had I had this panel when I went and bought my first home, I wouldn't have bought the home that I bought. And I'll just leave it at that. So without any delay, let's turn it over to Mr. Alex Pinn.
Hey, Lorenzo, thanks for having me. My name is Alex Pinn. I am a certified financial planner with Northwestern Mutual. So I've been in the financial advising, financial planning space for about a decade now. So my role is really to help my clients build life by design, not by default. And so really what I mean by that is helping my clients identify, what are their goals over the next 2, 3, 5 years, and then longer term goals, retirement, that kind of thing, right? So how it relates to this panel, the biggest questions that I'm asked, or one of the biggest goals that I'm often asked about is, I want to buy a house. How much can I afford? How do I save for it? So happy to be here and share any knowledge that I can on the call today. Fun fact for me, I just started training for a marathon, which anybody that knows me knows running is not something that I do or enjoy doing at all. So this is a big undertaking. So yeah, that's my fun fact.
Awesome. Wow. Now, I'm going to have to talk to you about that later on offline. So trying to figure out who talked you into that. Somebody's got something on you, I've got to think. Awesome. Thanks for coming, Alex. And Alex and his wife are my financial planner. So I had to be a little selfish there and get that plug in. Kim, you're up.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm Kim Wallace. I'm an attorney. I'm a partner at Wallace Turner Law, where we primarily focus on real estate. Our firm is fairly new, but we have several years of experience in this space. A fun fact about me, so I was born and raised in Jamaica, and I moved here in 2005. So I have 2 high school diplomas. One from Jamaica because we end high school in the 11th grade there, and I came here and it's like there's a 12th grade. So I had to do 12th grade before college. So 2 high school diplomas, super smart.
You must have been taken aback when you came in and be like, I got to go back to school.
Yeah, but because I did everything, I took gym, health, theology, just random nothingness that I did all day. So nothing of substance I did in high school here in America.
And now you are a whole real estate attorney. We are excited to have you. Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Kevin.
Lorenzo, thank you so much for having me. It's good to see everyone on the panel again for another year. I'm Kevin Maxwell, owner of Maxwell Home Inspection Services. So we specialize in home inspections for buyers, as well as also inspections for sellers. And then we also do a wider range of things, such as mold assessments, mold remediation, asbestos assessments, soon to be asbestos remediation, and then also kind of like the kind of core things such as chimney inspections, chimney cleanings, septic inspections. Basically anything that you need inspected, we can inspect it, except for a car. But we do all of that and more. And a fun fact about me is one of my favorite shows is Love It or List It. And I'm just a big HGTV person, even though I know a lot of the stuff isn't real, but it's just funny to me.
So Kevin, thanks for joining. It's funny when I think about when I started. I remember you were a jack of many trades when I first met you, man. And to see where you are now from where you started, I just think it's absolutely amazing. And that goes for everybody on this call. Kim, I had the pleasure of meeting you a couple of years ago just to see where Wallace Turner's Law has evolved over the course of the years. Pin and Pin Financial. It's just crazy. It's just to see where everybody has taken Virginia. Game changer. So I mean, it's just to kind of talk about everybody knows who you are. So without further ado, go ahead and introduce yourself, even though it may not be needed.
Lorenzo always gives me this super nice introduction.
Am I wrong? Is anybody on this call, does anybody disagree with what I'm saying?
The best hype man here.
Yes. No, I appreciate it. I love it. I recently joined your home team as a team member and real estate agent. So that's kind of the hat I'm wearing today. But my other hat is president and CEO of Building Blocks Together, which was created to build wealth and equity for minorities through education, home ownership, and development. Oh, and a fun fact about me is that I love to sleep, of which I'm currently deprived.
Fair enough. Well, thank you so much for coming. We truly appreciate it. Mr. Lewis, Hunt Mortgage, welcome.
Appreciate you. Last I checked, I'm blessed and highly favored, and I actually believe it. So I'm gonna walk in that one. Yes, I'm Brian Lewis. I work for Hunt Mortgage. We are an in-house lender with Hunt Real Estate Corporation. We are a pretty big company, a family-ran real estate company. We have Hunt Real Estate, we have Hunt Mortgage, which we're the bank. We have Hunt Insurance, Hunt Commercial, Network Title. We are a very big entity and try to be a one-stop shop for our clients. What I do is as simple at the bank. We specialize in mortgage banking, and we just try to make loans for our borrowers and just try to take care of them. Always uphold high customer service, be there any way that we can, and get the deal done. So definitely, obviously, I am asked very many times about questions about home purchases, and I believe that's where I can add some value to this panel. So I appreciate you guys having me. A fun fact, I'm originally from Western New York. I'm a definite.
Sorry.
It's all good, man. No doubt to Boston. I can't talk because we just lost to Kansas City, but that's whatever. Shout out to the Bills. I love Wegmans, but moving here in 2015, man, the Bistro in Latham, man, I got like a 5-year love affair with the Bistro in Latham, man. It's fantastic. Good food. And I'm slowly converting over. Don't tell any of my Rochesterians that I'm starting to leave the Wegmans bandwagon, but there's a little fun fact for you.
Appreciate you. All right, guys, let's get into it. Home ownership. I'd like for us all to just kind of speak as the spirit moves you right now and just kind of share what you're seeing out there. 2021 was very unique. Unique in the sense that I think people had cabin fever, right, because of the pandemic and what have you. And obviously that's still here to some degree, but people still need to live their lives. And what I found is that home ownership has only proven to become more of a challenge, but it's still something that can be done and it's attainable as long as you prepare. And that's really why today's panel has come together. And this will be one of many panels over the course of the year. But I wanted to kind of just hit this out the park and just kind of just put it out there. We as a community in the capital region, when you look at it overall, we just don't have a lot of inventory that's available. And when you start to drill down into the inner city communities and you look at home ownership by race, these numbers just continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And if anything, I want this panel to be helpful for anyone, but I also want it to be helpful for those who are who live in these inner city communities and may not really know how to go about getting their started. So that being said, I'm going to turn it to Virginia first and just say, Virginia, in your role, what are you seeing as a realtor? What are you seeing as a housing counselor, and take it from there?
Yeah, thanks, Lorenzo. So I would say, no doubt, the market's obviously crazy. I would very much say it's still a seller's market. I would also say that just kind of setting yourself up for success in your home buying process, right? You don't want to go to your lender first. You don't even want to go to me first as your agent. You want to flip. I'll put on my other hat, right? As housing counselor, you want to go to your housing counselor or your financial advisor, right? Assess your credit. What is your credit like? What's on your credit score? How much do you have in savings? Have you been working for 2 years, right? Those are the 3 main things that the bank is looking for at a barest minimum. I would say the next level to that, right, is what are your savings like? Can you afford the monthly payment? Are you going to be tight? Do you require grants? So those are all things that you're going to take care of. Buyer affordability, how much house can you afford based on your current income or what you could prove on paper? So those are all things that you as the buyer want to kind of take care of or assess or kind of start to think about when you start thinking about home ownership. Excellent.
Brian, what are you seeing as far as offers getting accepted, as far as buyers who are you seeing buyers, what do buyers need to do in order to get prepared to get their offer accepted? And are you seeing everyone getting their offer accepted, or are you seeing, what are you seeing?
I can't say everybody. I have seen a few FHAs start getting accepted again, which tells me that concessions are starting to be a little bit more accepted. I would say to be prepared is everything. Second what Virginia was talking about, just having your ducks in order. I think the thing that we specialize at Hunt is, we have a pre-purchase commitment, which is essentially like a fully underwritten pre-approval. And the reason why I think that gives us a very strategic advantage, at least a competitive advantage out in the marketplace, is kind of what you're saying. You have pre-quals, you even have a pre-approval from brokers and things like that, but to have a fully underwritten document is a bank saying that this person is qualified for that mortgage and they've already been underwritten. So then at that point, it's really the 4 C's that how I learned it, which was we look at the credit, we look at capacity, which is income, and we look at cash. Those are the first 3 that can be reviewed, which is reviewing the borrower. The last one, which is collateral, is really that appraisal thing, which we review the property to make sure that it's an adequate piece of security for the loan. So getting those first 3 things not just reviewed, because a loan originator can get documents together, W-2s, 60 days worth of bank statements, 30 days worth of pay stubs, 2 years worth of tax returns, and we can actually give it a good and thorough look. But at the end of the day, it's going to be going to the underwriter anyway. And so they're really that part in the process, and the loan production process, that says yay or nay, right? And so if we can get that to them faster, that's going to give you that strategic advantage out there, because you're walking in there with a fully underwritten document. And so just doing all you can, there are definitely banks that may do something similar. Brokers may help in some sort of way, but just doing as much as you can to have everything prepared so that when you make that offer, you're coming in with your best offer, because it is so competitive out there. And I would say that's the best way to kind of go and approach that.
So something you said there is made me think about, as I'm out in the field, I hear often, I want to buy a home. I want to look for a home. I'm not in a rush, right? I'm month to month. I'm not in a rush. And I don't want to get in a bidding war. And I always tend to chuckle, because that right there, it's like, all right, well, if you're buying anytime soon, that's just where it's going to be, whether you wait this year or next year. My issue is those who choose, the longer you wait, the more you end up penalizing yourself, because we as a whole, nobody has control over interest rates. So as the interest rate clicks up, right, which is what the Treasury has control over, because that's where Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, right, are getting their money from. And so banks want to be competitive with each other, and they can only go but so low. And yeah, you can buy your points down, but at the end of the day, when your rate goes up, there's only so much house that you can afford. So by you waiting is really not the answer. And by you not wanting to get in a bidding war tells me that you haven't had that strategy session. And that's really where this forum comes together, come up with your strategy. So that being said, where do I get money from? Because I think that no matter how many times I say this, no matter how many times my peers say it and you say it, you do not need 20% down to buy a home. You do not need 20% down to buy a home. So if you want to be competitive and you want to find places to get money, Alex, your financial planner, which another common myth out there is that you have to be well off and rich to have a financial planner, which is fact, it's quite the opposite. You may want to be destitute and broke to have your financial planner so that you can become well off and rich, right? Don't wait till you get there to get somebody to tell you what to do.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Right. So Alex, that being said, I want to become a homeowner. I have a 401k or I don't. What are the things that you can do to help me kind of source where I can get money from? And then Alex, when you're done, whatever money I can get from Alex or from myself using Alex's services, Virginia, from a building blocks together standpoint, can you explain how grants can help supplement, if not completely replace, if I don't have the luxury of having a 401k? So Alex, go ahead first.
Yeah, so I think to piggyback off of one of Virginia's points earlier, what Brian or whoever your mortgage or loan originator will pre-approve you for does not mean that's the mortgage that you have to get. And that doesn't also mean that that's the mortgage that you can afford. Because when we look at buying a house, it's a bill that you're going to have to pay for potentially 30 years. And if you're going to add that bill on and sacrifice being able to save for retirement or save for your children's education or any of the other goals that are important to you, we really need to make sure that we have that strategy session. So I think Virginia had put it, don't go to your lender first, or don't go to your realtor first, go to your financial advisor, or go to your other individuals that are going to help you put together that strategy session. So we're making sure, hey, we know how much we can realistically afford, regardless of what we're pre-approved for, because we have to factor in all of the other goals that you have as a family, or whoever's buying as an individual buying the house. And to that point, Lorenzo, you don't have to put that 20% down. And there are a ton of ways that you can build that down payment, whether it's borrowing from yourself, taking money out of your 401ks or investment accounts, which I don't love. Let me just put the disclaimer in there. I don't love that idea. I'd much rather you come to me or Virginia 6 months before you're ready to buy, and we can put together a savings plan for it, instead of you robbing Peter to pay Paul, if you will, because you're borrowing money from a retirement account. You're just hurting yourself 30, 40 years from now. But there are things like grants out there that Virginia can talk a lot more about. I think when it comes to the home buying purchase, you really want to just be very comfortable with, what can I actually afford? Am I depleting my entire emergency fund to do this? Because I, again, as a financial advisor, would tell you that's probably not something that you can afford. Then if you have to leave yourself with nothing, you get into a house and something goes wrong, not that Kevin would miss anything in an inspection, but something breaks, that was nothing that he inspected, say the stove goes for some reason, right? And you don't have an emergency fund, now you're getting into debt and things of that nature. So making sure that you're working within your budget, protecting yourself, having an adequate emergency fund. I personally make all of my clients that are buying a home, even if they don't have kids yet, we're having that life insurance conversation, so that if one of you were to pass away, the spouse is protected, or the surviving person is not stuck with its entire bill. So a lot of the planning to buy a house needs to be done well before you're ready to actually even go see a house. There's a lot of pre-planning that can be done with your financial advisor.
Well said. Thank you, Alex. Virginia, so I've spoken with my advisor. We've come together with a plan, but it looks like I still need some help, and I might have the ability to qualify for some grants. How do grants work, and can I use more than one? Lay it on me.
Yep. So there is, and I'll say this, whoever's on the video, I don't know if you're from New York, Jersey, Cali, Georgia, North Carolina, Montana, right? There's down payment assistance in every single state. Not some states, not northern states, not southern states, western states, 50 states have down payment assistance. So if you don't know that, just Google down payment assistance and put in your state name. That's kind of a way to cheat. But grants work. Most grants are state funded and or HUD funded, federally funded. So they do have area median income requirements. Most, if not all, grants have location requirements. And then some grants require that you take a home buyer course or some type of educational component. So those, I think, would be the most common things to look for when you are looking for grants. But I would also say, if you're talking about Capital Region, Colony, Building Blocks as a Capital Region grant, TRIP has Rensselaer County and City of Troy grants. Schenectady has grants. There's pretty much grants all over the Capital Region, especially if we're talking about living like within the cities and most of the municipalities. There's funding available. But I would say the best way to kind of go about searching for grants, like I said, you can Google down payment assistance to your state. But realistically, you want to contact somebody like me, Building Blocks Together, to kind of help you navigate that system, right? Grants are tricky in that they have different application periods. And what I mean by that is some grants require that you apply for the grant before you're under contract. Like, you cannot be under contract to get the grant. And I know some grants require that you are under contract before you even apply for the grant. And what does that mean, right? That's just the different requirements for the grant. That doesn't necessarily mean that the grants are not stackable. In fact, probably the opposite is true, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken, all the grants in the Capital Region gel with each other or are stackable. So that means you can use building blocks grant with a trip grant with the homebuyer dream grant. And I'm also not making that up. Somebody, not trip grant, but somebody used my grant in Schenectady. So they have a Schenectady grant, they're using homebuyer dream grant, and they're using
NYSAR, there was a NYSAR grant in there as well.
Yep, right. So this person in particular, and this is a rare case, right? This is like an anomaly. But this person basically, if I'm not mistaken, took off $30,000 to $40,000 in grants, right? Just utilizing and stacking grants. They took off $30,000 to $40,000. Typically, it's not that much of an impact, that great of an impact for any one individual. But if you are strategic and you have the right home buying team around you, you should be able to at least, right, especially in the capital region, stack 1 or 2 grants. Like I said, the Restorative Housing Justice Grant has no lien. So if you got a Sunny Mae grant, DPAL grant, or a HUD grant from ACDA, or a HUD grant from out in Troy, there will be no conflict, so you would be able to stack it. So, and then the grants are, if you're talking about award amounts, I would say award amounts are anywhere from $5,000, and I believe the max award amount for the trip grant is $20,000. And this is individual grants, right? So if you got a $20,000 or $15,000 trip grant, you got $5,000 from me, and then you got $10,000, or what is Homebuyer Dream? 14.5, right? From Homebuyer Dream, right? You kind of just made out, right? Like a bandit.
Not only,
Yep.
can you flip that from, and I'm going to ask Brian as a lender to jump in on this as well, but not only have you gotten these grants to purchase a home, but Brian, with that many dollars in grant funding, that could potentially change someone from going FHA with a 6% concession to now going straight on conventional with no concession, and maybe not even touch the saved money that they had come together with their plan with Alex. Is that fair to say?
It's fair. I know as I was listening, and that's great information from everybody who's spoken already. To me, it was like, even to throw it a little bit more into context, when you're working with a loan originator, our goal is to see what program fits. So we obviously want to make a recommendation that's suitable to the client, right? So we want to look at your borrower profile. We want to look at your investment objectives. And so once we gather that and we can make that suitable recommendation, kind of what you're talking about, I kind of see it as really just 2 schools of thought. The first school of thought is PITI. So whoever's listening, never, ever forget that acronym, PITI: principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. That is your mortgage payment. And so when we're looking at those documents, right, the credit report, the capacity, your income, and those documents and cash, we're first looking to see how much PITI do you qualify for, right? That's the housing payment. So I agree with Alex. You definitely want to sit and have that conversation with your housing counselor, with your financial advisor, because even that, most lenders are looking at that gross number. We live on net, right? And so you want to make sure that it's in line with your affordability, which we will have that discussion. We also going to outline the criteria that we're using. That's school of thought number 1. School of thought number 2, which is I say it like this: when keys, cash, and checks start changing hands, somebody's moving into that house, right? So we have to look at cash to close as how much are you going to bring to the table, right? So we know you may afford the PITI, and let's say you can afford a $400,000 house, but you got $150,000 money, right? So we have to have that conversation as well, which goes back to what Alex is talking about, different programs that you use there, but it definitely is in line with what you're talking about, Virginia, because that money can be used to the cash to close. And what makes cash to close is, like you said earlier, Zoe, the myth is that we need 20% down. That is not true. So there's kind of like overarching programs, right? We have specialty programs, USDA, VA, that you have to qualify for, but most people fall within to the two big ones, which is conventional and FHA, which you referenced, they come with their own set of guidelines. And so referencing that down payment, each program that's more suitable for the client, yes, that's going to come with its set of down payment, which FHA usually is around 3.5%. Conventional minimums around 5%, but there are programs that allow you to drop it even to 3%. Then you come into the closing table with closing costs, right? Those are all your fees of part of this transaction: banking fees, attorney fees, appraisal fees, all these fees that are coming. And then you also, if you remember that acronym, I told everybody, remember principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. You're also coming with those escrow payments, right? The escrow fees, taxes, and insurance. So the grant money that you can get can be a blessing because it allows for you to utilize that money to pay for that cash to close. Now, like FHA, they may require for you to actually have the down payment in the game. But conventional, yeah, you could easily switch because if you have enough resources to cover that cost, that cash to close, and you already qualify for the mortgage, maybe you were just going FHA because you needed more resources to help with the cash to close. Man, these grant programs can be a phenomenal resource to help you eat up that cash to close. And then you're right, you don't have to, make Mr. Alex pull out his hair because you want to pull from your 401k. And he like, man, you're going to be kind of broke at 55 if you do this. Now he can rest assured and do his job to the fullest, which is help you retire and tire the way you want to do it. So it kind of helps everything out. So grant programs, definitely thumbs up from the bank.
I want to switch. As Virginia, I'm going to come back to you, but I'm going to come back to you as a realtor, but I'm going to switch. We've now got our finances right. We want to put in an offer. Oftentimes, legal doesn't, people really don't think about the legal aspects of this and what we're about to jump into. And so, Kim, one thing I love about your firm is, and you guys have said this from day one, which is we want to be that resource. We want you to be we want to be the go-to for you. Whatever issue you've got going on from a legal perspective, we want to help you. And even if we can't help you, we will find somebody who can. And I love that because it really allows for people to be like, I don't have, there's no such thing as a stupid question when you put that out there. So that being said, knowing what you do, explaining, what your role is in the home buying process, what are some things that we need to look out for? What are some things that you're going to go over with me as a home buyer that maybe I need to kind of give thought to before even having this trip of going through home ownership?
So I like to, have them decompress initially because it's such a high strung finding a house, making an offer, now we're here. So I like to talk to them because I was a first time home buyer in 2020, right? So I have that common ground with them and I know the stress that comes along with it. So I like to go through the contract with them line by line. The biggest mistake that I've seen on contracts is people don't even get their name spelling correctly. And that's how fast the process is going. So I like to have them sit down and understand every single item of what they've signed off on. I also want them to be transparent with me, right? I want to know everything that's going on. If you're getting a grant from Virginia, I need to know that so that I can help you with that process and get her all the documents that she needs. So when we get to the closing table, everything is already squared away. I like to know who the lender is. I want to communicate with them to make sure that their documents are in order. I've spoken to Brian a bunch of times, just getting everything together. So communication is the biggest thing. And speaking of communication, a first-time home buyer really wants someone to listen to them. They really care, and we have it set up where they can shoot us a text. Just a 2022 way of just approaching a client, where some people are more comfortable being on the phone. Some people want to shoot a quick text. Some people want to show up in person. So we like to meet our clients where they're at. And a lot of our clients have 9 to 5s. And they can't talk to you until after 5 or on the weekend or anything like that. So I like for my client to be transparent, letting me know, what is in their world, what are their stressors, what are they looking to do. And then I can, ease them into the process and guide them along the way. What people fail to, I guess, realize is that this is a contract, right? This is a binding agreement. It's not finalized until, you go through the attorney approval process, but there are certain dates, contingencies that need to be, you need to cooperate with those dates. So, as the attorney, we make sure that we have our list together. We're reaching out to the realtors, the lenders, to Virginia to make sure that, they have everything that they need so that our clients are staying in line with the terms of the contract.
So the contract, section 21 of the old contract, it's the one that I know, is inspections. Section 20 talks about, a home is being sold as is. We know that, right? So food for thought, guys, when you're scrolling, especially your first time home buyer, and you see something that says sold as is, heed warning, right? Because we already know that it's sold as is because it's in the contract that it's sold as is. So section 21 is broken down, and not every part of the state, not every part of where you're looking to buy is. It's just here in the capital. Looks different in Massachusetts. But section 21 here in the capital states, it talks about inspections and your right to inspect. Mr. Maxwell, we have you come out. Well, first of all, we may not have you come out because we were in a bidding war, and the only way I was going to get my offer accepted was because I was ill-advised, dare I say, to waive inspections. So when I'm waiving inspections, Kevin, what am I potentially exposing myself to from, a list of items that I need to kind of think of when I'm become a homeowner?
Yeah, so I think as far as for the waiving inspection part, so some people think I'm against waiving inspections. I'm like, hey, listen, if you are a contractor or an engineer, or you have an uncle or somebody like that that's really hands-on, and they've been building houses for their whole lives, then that's cool. Or if you have a lot of cash reserves, which that's something to talk to Alex about, you know what I mean, as far as for something like that, and you have cash reserves, you're ready to kind of anticipate maybe some issues, then that's fine. But I think like the general buyer shouldn't waive inspections, just because there's kind of a lot of things that you can kind of run into, So like, I guess I'll kind of start first, kind of talking a little bit more about what we do, and then talking about kind of like the things that, maybe somebody can anticipate if they're kind of walking into that house kind of blindly and they're waiving that. So like, as far as for us, like, like we do, so I have a team of like 3 inspectors, and we just hired 2 more people today. So they'll be starting in the spring. But as far as for that, so my team is pretty comprehensive. So we do the home inspection piece. And then as far as for the other things we do, like a lot of houses, every house basically has a sewer line. So that could be a very expensive thing that you have to replace if that's damaged. So like we do like what's called the sewer scope inspection. We put a camera down the sewer line, checking that out, making sure there's no damage there. So we have that. And then at the same time, we have the whole mold piece, which mold is a very big thing right now. It's kind of still hot in 2022. So mold is big. And at the same time, you can run into things as like asbestos. And then like, even like, with like some houses in rural areas, they have like septic tanks. So that's basically kind of like all the waste and stuff like that go into the tank. We pump that every couple of years. So, we also inspect that too, and pools and chimneys. So, with that being said, we did a lot of training to do those things. And when we do an inspection, it might be me as well as 2 other guys coming out to do these different services. And as far as repairs, to repair a chimney that has a damaged liner, which is the inner portion of a chimney, that could be close to $4,000. To replace a septic tank, I'm sure you've probably run into that a couple of times, Lorenzo, that could be, between $10,000 and $20,000. So there's just a lot of different expenses that you can kind of run into when you're buying a house. And then, like we talked about, if you're buying a house as is, or you're waiving the inspection, funny story, I actually do post-closing inspections too. So during the height of COVID, a lot of people were waiving inspections, and they were calling me after to come look at the house, which, I don't judge. I'll come anytime you want me to come, before, after, during, whatever. But with that being said, we'd come after the inspection and they just want to just know what's going on. So we had one before where they bought the house, they never even seen the house until they closed. And then we get there and then the basement had flooding issues. The basement was full of mold and then the electrical was all crazy. And the good thing about them is they had cash reserves. So it didn't really affect them as much as somebody who is buying a house and they're maxing out their budget. And then when they move in, they can't even, if something goes wrong with, you could name whatever goes wrong. If something goes wrong that costs over $1,000, they're maxed out a credit card, So I think this is the benefit of this panel, from like the mortgage side to the grant side, to the advisor side, to the attorney side, to the agent side, especially when you have people who are honest with you. I think honesty is the biggest thing people need in this process is, for me, I'm never going to show up and not tell you something's going on. I'm not going to scare you, but I'm going to educate you during the process to let you know, okay, here's the issues and the defects that you have to know. And if you say, hey, that's not that big of a deal, that's fine. But if you say, hey, well, I don't know, let's negotiate on it, then I'm pitching it back to the attorney. I'm pitching it back to the agent for everyone to start having conversations. So I think the biggest thing really is just having those honest conversations up front, can save you a lot of money and time and headaches on the back end. Because once you close, it's your house.
Well said. And I agree with you on the waiving inspections. I like bringing that up first because I'm not gonna lie. I think there are times when waiving inspections does make sense. And I'll give you a perfect example. If I've done what I was supposed to do, and I've put together my team, my financial planners on deck, my lenders on deck, my attorney, everybody is on deck. My inspector is on deck, and I've formed this relationship, and I know that I'm about to put in an offer on a house that is going to have multiple offers, and I want to put my best foot forward. Well, there's nothing stopping you from partnering with that inspector to say, hey, listen, I'm going to go look at this home. Can you come with me and just take a look? And if you go out there and you say, as Mr. Expert Home Inspector, I'll talk to your attorney, I'll talk to your lender, but there's nothing here that's jumping out at me that is of significant value. You should feel comfortable waiving me as a part of the agreement, right? But that's being prepared. I would never advise someone to go out to a home and be like, looks good to me, let's go ahead and waive it. That's not the, we laugh, but it happens. And, no judgment, but I'm judging you. It's not probably the best place to put yourself in. So now that I've identified in some inspection issues, and Kevin, one of the things that you do, it's near perfection, my friend. No realtor in Virginia, I think you can agree here, no realtor likes an alarmist. An alarmist is an inspector who comes into the house and has the OMG syndrome. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's like, what are you doing? That is a quick way not to get yourself used again. So that being said, you have this ability to teach, manage, and support during the situation. And you're walking people through what that looks like. Hey, this is where we're going. This is where we need to go, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now you've got them at the end. And now there are a couple of opportunities that do need to be addressed. We come back to you, Kim. What now? I mean, is my deal dead? Like, what are you going to do for me?
Absolutely not. So once I have the inspection report in hand, I'm going through it and reviewing it with a fine-tooth comb. And I've had a lot of deals with Kevin, and if something isn't clear, I'll reach out to him and say, hey, what is this? What should we do about this? But if there are any major issues over 1,500, and he'll flag them for us, we will collaborate with the realtor and have some estimates done. And then we will follow up with the seller's attorney to either get a credit or to have the sellers repair it. And then we do a reinspection. Or if it's something so egregious, right, so unconscionable that it doesn't make sense to move forward, there is that option of canceling the contract. But what I've seen most times is that, we usually work it out. We usually get some credit. We usually meet in the middle ground and take care of that.
So Kim, we're talking about, and again, you called me the hype man earlier, but this just here, listen, I'm a creature of habit. I like working with people who there's a common goal, right? So at the end of the day, sometimes you're better off with the bird in the hand than the two that are in the bush, right? And at the end of the day, yeah, we can walk away from this deal, but if you're looking to acquire a home and be a homeowner, if you're looking for near perfection, it doesn't exist. If you say you want to go for new construction, we can go that route, but that still doesn't guarantee anything. There still can be issues there. So your best, there was something that said this was the house, your agent signed off on it as long as they are trustworthy. Everybody signed off on it. I'm not telling you not to back out, but we really need to look at this and say, hey, listen, is this something that can be repaired? Is this something that's doable? Or is this just way above my head? Because if you cancel that deal and now you go down the road to the next deal, there's nothing guaranteeing you that the next deal would be even a worse situation than what you were in. Would we all agree with that?
Agreed.
So that being said, Kim, you and I are working on a deal right now where there was a buried oil tank in the ground, right? And we found it. Our home inspector found it. The buyer's home inspector found it. We're working through it. The sellers are taking care of it, right? It's a beautiful home. It's a beautiful 3-unit building. It's a beautiful property. We're getting it through to the finish line. So negotiation is critical. Everybody having being available, and being transparent. Somebody said transparency, or it's so important. If you're dealing with grants, be open and honest about that. Don't play the smoke and mirrors. It's not a good look. But everybody being on the same page and getting to the finish line is really where that is the goal, and that's what we're trying to accomplish, and it's what we are going to accomplish. As we wrap up in these final moments here, if we could just throw out there, what's one key takeaway and tip that you would give every home buyer in the buying process? Because we've talked about being prepared for a mortgage. We've talked about getting prepared financially with down payments and then supplementing that with grants if we are approved for said income source. We've talked about the legal aspect. We've talked about inspections. Is there anything up here that you guys have seen in the past rolling 12 months that you really want to leave with our viewers to give them a moment to just kind of think about and maybe contact you for further discussion? We'll start with Alex.
Yeah, I think a couple of things, and Lorenzo, you may have said both of them already, but I just wanted to reiterate both of them. First being, there's that myth that you have to be wealthy to meet with a financial advisor. I completely want to dispel that. If you are wealthy and you want to talk to me, cool. I will gladly talk to you. If you have money that you want to give me, sure. But you don't have to be, right? That's the point of a financial advisor, is to get you to that point where you are in a comfortable position. And secondly, and really more importantly, when we're thinking about purchasing a home, whether it's your first home or second, third, whatever, interest rates are going up. That is a fact. Inflation has risen, not to get too kind of macroeconomic with the conversation, but that's going to be how the Fed starts to tamper down this rising inflation, is to adjust interest rates, and interest rates are going up. Higher interest rate, even for somebody that's not in the financial world, it doesn't sound that crazy with mortgage loan rates going from 3 to 4. It's 1%. That's not that big of a deal. It's a big deal as to how much that pity that Brian was talking about, how much that 1% is going to impact what your actual monthly payment is. So I think while it is a seller's market, because of the lack of inventory that Lorenzo was talking about, if buying a home is one of your big goals, keep that in mind, that interest rates are going to go up and you'll be able to afford less house when the rates are higher.
Thank you, Alex. Well said. Kim.
So my word from the beginning is transparency. I need to know everything that's going on that might affect you in the long run, so that I know how to best protect you in the transaction, right? If you put an offer in, but you plan to quit your job in 30 days, I need to know that because that's going to affect the deal. So the more I know, the more that I can assist anyone in, getting to the closing table and getting the keys. And that's the ultimate goal. So be transparent with your attorney, tell them everything that you have going on. I say to some people, I want to know your business, right? You go to the inspection and there's an issue. I want to hear about it. I don't want you to bring it up after the inspections have closed out. So the more I know, the more I can assist and, getting to the finish line, which is home ownership.
Thank you, Kim. Virginia.
I have a couple of things just because I wear a few different hats, right? I would say to kind of echo the sentiment of everybody, the only thing that's true in real estate is that it rises. I don't care what's going on. I don't care pandemic, non-pandemic, real estate is going to increase, right? But that is to say, which is my next point, prepare, prepare, prepare. Real estate is going to increase. However, opportunities for the right property will be there for you. With the home that's for you will be there for you. The home that's for you is not going to have foundation cracks, roof issues. The home that's for you, it's not going to, you're not going to live in a house, but you're literally going to have $0 to spend every month, right? That's not the property for you. And that's, important that you kind of know what's for you as you're going through your home buying process, if you have the right preparation. And I think lastly, trust your home buying team, right? We certify every couple of years. I know agents do. As a housing counselor, you have to get certified. I know as an inspector, you have to be certified, right? Lender, trust your home buying team, your attorney. We are the professionals. I would like to say, generally speaking, we're not trying to steer people into a property that they can't afford. That's a lemon or a bad investment, right? We understand that real estate is investment, and we're here to help you, right? And then as your agent, essentially, I'm there to basically hold your hand. I'm showing you the property. I'm interfacing with your inspector. I'm interfacing with your attorney. I'm interfacing basically with everybody that you should be interfacing with or might have business with, to get you to that finish line, which is, like Kim said, the home buying table and home ownership.
Thank you, Virginia. Something you said there, and that's the trust issue. And I think oftentimes we have to earn that trust, right? We have to earn that trust. And so for those watching, starts with reviews, right? I'm definitely on your team. And anybody I'm affiliated with is on your team. So much to the point that if you give me feedback that speaks ill of said person or said profession, guess what? They're off the team. Right? This is my livelihood. This is what I do. I live, breathe, eat it. I'm surrounded by it. I come home to it. I go to work to it. Right? We formed a team around it. This is what I do. This is what our team does. And so therefore we want to be affiliated with other people who have like-minded goals for you. So read our reviews, but ultimately I'm looking for your review. And if I'm not doing right by you, I'm not going to get a good review. Therefore, it makes no sense whatsoever for me to be on any other team other than your home team.
Yeah, Lorenzo, can I just piggyback off of that for 1 second? There's been a handful of situations where you've sent somebody my way and said, hey, can you do a dive in with them and see, like, can they actually buy a house? Is this a good decision for them? And one, I've just always thought that speaks really highly of you to not be just trying to sell them a house because they got pre-qualified. You're taking that a whole other step and saying, hey, they're pre-qualified, but maybe they shouldn't be buying a house right now. So one, I just wanted to give you a little plug there in this whole vein of you have to trust your team. There's a handful of people that I've talked to that I said, yeah, you're not ready to buy a house. You need to wait another year. And would Lorenzo have loved to sell you a house? I'm sure, but the reason he sent you to me first is because he really is looking out for your best interest and wanted to make sure that it's something that is feasible and something that you can stay in and live comfortably. So I just wanted to give you a little plug there, Lorenzo, for being trustworthy. And that's not something that we see all the time in these industries.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Kevin, takeaway tip.
Well, I wanted to second what Alex said about you, Lorenzo, because I can attest to that too. Me and Lorenzo have worked together for it feels like years at this point, right? It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And one thing I love about Lorenzo is he is so honest. And I remember before we had an inspection where, the buyer was a little nervous and, I really took my time to kind of work with her, but then we went to the basement, looked at the basement, had some flooding issues. And we really took a lot of time to really communicate with the client. And Lorenzo was the first one to say, hey, we got to get a wet basement contractor in here. Even before I even said it, he said it. So I appreciated him on that. And then, after that happened, he really built the bridge to where me and the client had a couple phone conversations, and really I took my time with that. So to even have somebody like Lorenzo as an agent to facilitate that really says a lot, because he really went above and beyond. So I appreciate you for that. And as far as for me, I guess I would say due diligence is my final takeaway. So I think it works hand in hand between the agent side, but also the attorney side, because I'm right in the middle of it. You know what I mean? And for me, it's really the due diligence. And I would tell people, don't be afraid to spend a little extra money on an inspection to really figure out every facet of the house. And I know sometimes it can be a little tough and a little bit of tight to spend money because you got money going everywhere. But if you do come into it with a little bit of a cushion, it's better to figure out, issues before than after, because, if you give me $100 to do a radon test, that could, basically save you $1,200 to prevent, obviously installing your own system, as well as also from the health, concerns of that. So for me, it's and I always ask people, I say, okay, if the house has a fireplace, are you going to burn any wood? And they say, yeah, I am. Okay, then we probably should get a level 2 chimney inspection to check it out, because you give me $200 is not really a comparison to spending $4,000. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I just really encourage people, I'll do whatever you want me to do. If you just want me to just do a basic bare bones inspection, we can do that. If you want me to come out with the whole team and really go over the house and check out every single system, we can do that too. But I always say it's better to leave no money on the table and leave it on the field now than when you close and then you figure out, hey, the septic system is messed up. And you say, hey, Kevin, well, what about that? And I said, we never did it because you told me you didn't want to do it, So for me, I just tell people, ringing the bell with Kim, it always makes sense to go through everything, do your due diligence now, and then negotiate after. And if they don't want to negotiate, then you take it to, you can leave or whatever it is, but just make sure you get everything done when you're doing the inspection. And then when you get the house, it's peace of mind because you had everything inspected and it's safe.
Thanks, Kevin. Well said. Brian?
Man, you're gonna send me after that is pretty good, man. So
I was speaking, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna let him go first.
Nah, you guys nailed it. I wrote a couple of things down. Number one, it's a privilege to do what we do. We all studied, we all worked to do what we do, and it's a privilege to work for the client, because I agree. I think one, transparency is critical, to know what's going on. I see a panel full of educators, and I see a panel full of people that treat people like they want to be treated. And it starts with transparency, keeping it 100. Second, I think it's transparency that we all stay in our lane. I don't try to be a financial advisor. I don't try to be no inspection. I don't try to be the grant, and I darn sure don't try to be the legal. I'm gonna do my job. And I think you have a team of individuals that will do their job. I think third, it really goes back to something someone said on here, but man, start with getting that team together of like-minded individuals, that the goal is, like Kim said, man, get the keys, right? At the end of the day, the goal is to get those keys. And you got a group of people that's their goal for you, because it's an interdependent relationship. Obviously, we want you to get the keys, but that's the way we make our living, is making sure that you get the keys. And I would end with this, and this is what hit me. My biggest takeaway from this panel, I would tell the client to keep the faith and do the work. Not just keep the faith, but do the work. You got individuals on this call that will do their work to help you do your work. And a lot of times, because I've seen Kim do it, she's the voice of reason. And sometimes that can just, man, it goes leaps and bounds, because sometimes the work is just keeping the faith during the hectic process. And if you can keep the faith and do your job and trust that the team that you put together is going to do their job, then you're going to get the keys. So anybody listening, just keep the faith, take that step of faith, and not just ignorant and blind faith. Don't do that. He gave us wisdom. So take the step of faith, put your team together, and allow everybody to do their job so you can get the keys. So that's my takeaway, man. I appreciate all y'all. It's been a privilege just to be on there. So I thank you all as well. And Zoe, you are the man, man. Let me just throw that out there, man. You my man, 50 grand. You know, let me throw that out there too. But
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. My takeaway is, like you said, form your team. I don't care if it's this team, but form a team that you trust, right? And if you need help forming your team, like I said, if you're here in the capital, if you're in Boston, I'm licensed in Mass. You're on the Cape and the Islands, I can help you there too. If you're in North Carolina, across the country, across the world, I will help you form your team. Right? That's number one. Number two, do not be scared. It is absolutely amazing to me how many people are truly struck by fear of being taken advantage of, fear of not knowing where to begin, fear of not asking the right question. You have to at least be able to pick up the phone, shoot me a text. You can text me day, night, I don't care. Just let me know who you are, because you won't get a response if I don't know who you are. But text me and just say, hey, listen, I want to become a homeowner. Where do I start? I'm going to put you in touch with Virginia. She's on my team. I am starting to work with people and making them find the right path. And so with Virginia and my peers on the team is growing so that I can do more of this. This is what I love to do. This is the education piece, being able to source people out and be like, hey, you need to talk to Alex. You need to talk to Brian. You need to talk to Virginia. You need to talk to Kevin. You need to talk to Kim. All of these people on this panel are all on my phone. When I put this panel together, it was just a mere text. It wasn't, I got to talk to an admin or I got to talk to whomever. If I have to talk to your admin, I'm not rocking with you. That's just as simple as that, right? So I need to be able to get hands-on, because at the end of the day, I want to be able to see you guys succeed. There should be far more home ownership out here than what there is, and do it now. Do not delay. Stop with the if you feel like, and I'm calling it an excuse because that's what I feel it is, but whatever it is, let's talk about it. Let's get it figured out. If it's lack of money, if it's lack of just knowledge, whatever the case may be, there's too much money out here, guys. There's too much money out here that's available to us for us to achieve home ownership. So all I want to do is see you win. And that's what the team wants to see you do. And I'm going to end it with this just real quick. The best way to get in touch with you is what? I'll go first. For me, it's text 617-212-7290. 617-212-7290. You can text me day and night. Just let me know who you are. And no creepy people, please. Alex, best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, that is going to be the same as Lorenzo. Text. I think my email is also in the post here, but text is always going to be easiest, as long as you let me know who you're reaching out as. But 518-428-5321.
Excellent. Kim?
Give me a call, 518-400-0672. Please leave a voicemail with your name in it so that I can call you back. And we pride ourselves on communication, calling you back, because we know the stress that's involved. And again, we want to get you your home. So call me.
Thank you. Kevin?
Yeah, I'd say text. So 518-961-1826. And I'm pretty heavy on social media too. Like, a lot of people reach out to me in my DMs on Instagram and Facebook. So you can just search me, Kevin E. Maxwell, or Maxwell Home Inspections. And that's actually pretty, strange enough, that's a faster response to text message sometimes. I don't know why, but.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Brian?
second everybody as well. One, no creepy people. Two, I agree with Kim. Hey, we're in 2022. A text could work. So 518-281-3395. Just let me know who you are. Obviously, if you're able to text me, you can call me at that number as well, but leave your voice message, because we do screen calls. You know, you didn't leave that name and number, I don't know how to get back to you. So definitely shoot that name and number to me, but thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Virginia. Now, mind you, I think I made this clear. Virginia is a realtor, and she's a housing council specialist. So you're getting 2 for 1.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll give you all the numbers since, you know, just in case one doesn't go through. So 518-898-1012, that's like the real estate number. 518-898-2747, that's the building blocks number. You can find me on social media. I do answer DMs, and that's kind of where most of my business comes from anyway. So Virginia Rounds on Facebook, same smile. Also Building Blocks Together on Instagram and Facebook as well. Thanks.
What I just heard is that you can slide in Virginia's DMs. I don't know what anybody else heard.
Yeah, you can
That's what I
basically
just
slide in
heard.
my DMs for real estate,
can
home
Business
slide
only,
in
business
DM.
only.
finance, all that. You can.
Say one more thing. We closed a lot of deals last year using the building blocks grant, and Virginia will make it happen. Literally, she comes to my house to drop off the check so that I can drive it to the closing. And we've had so many closings with people bringing next to nothing for cash to close. So it does work. Submit all the documents, do what you got to do, but we have money out there available for people to attain homes, and we need to take advantage of it 100%. And she's going to make it happen no matter what. I shoot her a text, hey, I'm closing tomorrow. Can you drop off the check? She's like, I'll go to the bank at 8 a.m. the next day. So
Yeah, so
it's real.
yeah, you know, we're getting it done by any means necessary. Like I said, I am a real estate agent. I do have access to grants just in my previous roles, just kind of, you know, that was the landscape that I was in, which led me to real estate. So if you're not ready, like, you know, you're not ready, your credit is messed up, you don't have savings, still contact me. I will get you to the point of being ready. Hopefully you use me as your real estate agent, but if not, I do have a team full of people that will take care of you.
And I won't be offended. I won't be offended. I'm still going to find out who you are, but I won't be offended. Give her a call. She is your realtor. It's win time to go with her. I encourage you. Always feel free to call me, always. But, you know, especially if you need that type of assistance, you're looking to leverage, please give her a call. I encourage it. Guys, thank you so much. We're slightly past the 1 hour, but this is such a passionate topic for me every single time. We will do this again. But I appreciate everybody on this panel. To the folks at home, to the people that are watching, please don't just watch the video and do nothing. If anything, pick up the phone, shoot a text. If you already got a realtor, that's fine. You know, that's perfectly fine. If you've already got a home inspector, that's fine. That's great. You're partly the way there. But if you've got questions, feel free to reach out at any point in time. I appreciate you all, and you guys have a great day. Take care.
Thank you.